Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on cryptoforgrowmybag.com, actually .tv. Hope you're having a good one. Here's today. What's good? So yeah, we had the Sunday roundup yesterday. More importantly, you know what happens this weekend? This coming Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the Big Baggers video conference, and it's only for big baggers. It's an exclusive deal that you get when you become a big bagger by going to growmybag.tv/sign-up or sending me your email address after you've joined the Big Baggers on YouTube. But that meeting, like I said, is exclusive. We talk about a whole bunch of things: crypto, stocks, business, just everything investment. It's all open. All right. So let's get to today's news. So there is a kind of bull market. We've kind of stalled a little bit, but people are thinking that there could be a little bit more of a correction before we go careening up. And I have to say, yeah, because here's what I think is going to happen. I think there's going to be a pullback in June that will see us rifle forward, not until probably August, September timeframe. So I'm looking at June and July as buy season. So you have a bear market, you have a bull market. To me, this is going to wind up being a buy market. But that's just me. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. That's the GMB 3, and those are the rules I live by. Now, with regard to Michael Saylor, Michael Saylor, it's being rumored that he's going to do something big today. Now, normally on Mondays, his company does go out and buy stuff. Strategy, that is. They go out and they buy Bitcoin. But we think that it's going to be a much bigger deal, like in the 400 million range. So we'll see how that goes. Then I'm expecting other institutions to be doing the same. I'm expecting inflows into certain ETFs to actually grow. Why is that? There's an advantage to getting into an ETF, and that's because they're able to buy at a lower price 9 times out of 10. So that means they're not going to buy higher, so they can only buy the same or lower. See how that works? Now, to me, that's a good thing. However, long term, I'm not going to want to go that route because I'm actually going to want to hold my own Bitcoin. Just saying. So ETFs are good in certain cases for certain periods of time, but over time, I'm going to want to build up my own reserve, and I'm going to use those ETFs to make money and possibly leverage that money to go buy. But we'll see what happens as people go and they cash in or don't cash in. To me, if I'm getting into an ETF, it's going to be because they're buying lower and I'm expecting it to go higher. That's the idea. Now, some people were talking about, I'm going to leave my money in the ETF when the market goes down, blah, blah, blah. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I had a long discussion with one of my friends yesterday, and my whole point was, I'm not going to leave my money in there. Good morning, sir. Thank you for letting me know you invested in yourself. That's Hutanic. So the idea is that I'm a long-term holder, but I'm a short-term advantage taker. So I'm going to take advantage of being able to sell here when I think the market is really going to tank, right? Sell here and then buy back in with that same money down here, less a certain percentage for my dry powder fund. But I will be getting more of what I just sold down here with the same money. That's the idea. It's not just about increasing the value of the asset that you're holding, but sometimes it's also increasing the amount of the asset that you're holding. And that's my strategy for not just increasing the value, but increasing the amount. That's the idea, at least for me. Delete that. That's so nasty. What's the other thing? Nobel laureate Paul Krugman criticized stablecoins as criminal tools and financial risks. And I'm sitting back and I'm going, some things I agree with Paul and some things I don't agree with Paul, right? This is one of those things where I disagree with Paul. He's saying that for people to be using stablecoins is because everybody that's using a stablecoin is doing something nefarious. I'm having a hard time understanding that, considering how much happens with fiat. So what's the difference between a stablecoin and fiat other than stablecoins are stateless? That's the only difference, right? So any argument, any advantage or disadvantage you have for stablecoins is the same advantage or disadvantage you're going to say for fiat. Plain and simple. So in this case, no, I do not agree with Paul Krugman, but do your own research. Look into what he's saying and what his reasoning is. He's a Nobel laureate. So, I mean, he's not dumb. He's very smart. Knows what he's talking about. 8 paws in the house. And you're investing in yourself right now. Thank you for letting me know. It is 2:30 in Arizona and was going to sleep and you popped up. And I popped up on the screen. So my eyes will be closed, but my ears will be open. I love it. Thank you so much, 8 paws. What else do we have? We've got insurers actually trying to cash in on all of these kidnappings. Now, yeah, that's what they're doing. If you're a high net worth person or a high digital net worth person, right? They're trying to contact you to get insurance on your possible kidnapping so that in the event of a kidnapping, they will cover the bill. Here's the problem though. How many people out there trust insurance companies? Because every time you turn around, yeah, they're not paying out. So do you really trust an insurance company? Right? Depending on the kind of insurance that you're getting and the price that you're paying. Yeah, you're going to want to know about that. So if you have that kind of a problem where you need to have kidnapping insurance, there are probably a few things that you want to identify to switch up and change before you do all that, even during you doing all of that. Then you've got the SEC warning that Ethereum and Solana ETFs may not meet legal requirements under the Investment Company Act. And I'm sitting back and I'm saying they literally just said that those particular coins do not fall under their jurisdiction, a whole bunch of stuff because of staking and all that and blah, blah, blah. This is what we mean by the SEC, not actually taking a pragmatic approach, not actually setting up guardrails, just kind of business as usual. What is Paul Atkins doing? I told you it's going to be a short time. I told you in June I was going to start asking the question. The guy got the job. People have been there for a long time. Why is everything taking so long? And why do you have a problem with these ETFs just because they allow staking? What's the problem? You literally just said staking doesn't fall under your jurisdiction. What's your issue? I think it's time to take the SEC to court. I really do. What are you doing, Paul? What are you doing? Get up off your butt and do your job. Have your team do their job. Why are you holding things up? So, okay, let's run with the idea that staking is bad. Let's just give it to them. Let's just say staking is bad. Okay, great. Staking is bad. What about the other ones? Oh, you don't want to talk about that probably. But what about the other ETFs that are on file, the other 70 some odd that are on file with the SEC that are just lingering there, collecting dust, almost being forgotten about? What about those? That's where people have a problem. Nobody's seeing any change in the SEC, but we're hearing all this rhetoric out of the rest of the regime. How about you stand by your word and do what you say you're going to do? Oh, yeah, that's right. Because nothing you say actually comes to fruition, except for, I'm not going to get into political stuff. Sorry. But when I'm looking at the money, where's the SEC? What are you doing? 70 some odd different applications, and you pick out staking, which is something you literally just said a couple of days ago is not within your jurisdiction. What are you doing? You're causing confusion. You're going to have a lot of companies start reaching out to you saying, what are we supposed to do? What's going on here? This should have been, most of those ETFs should have been rocked and rolled straight through the process. They know how to dot their I's. They know how to cross their T's, and you're sitting on them. There's no other excuse than you're sitting on them. Where's the change? New regime said there was going to be a change. Oh, you want to get rid of Gary Gensler. Oh, great. You got rid of Gary Gensler. You put in Paul Atkins. What is he doing? Before Paul Atkins got there, you had nominated somebody to actually be their interim, which means that the people that were at the top were doing the bidding of the regime. So what's going on? To whose advantage is this holdup? Or I'm sorry, are all of those holdups? 70 some odd, like I said. So I do have a problem with that. I think the SEC has lost its freaking mind. I think they've lost their way. I think they offer no clear direction. And I still stand by the idea that some of the crypto space falls under the SEC or should fall under the SEC. The bulk of it should fall under the CFTC. Get it? Commodities. That's what I'm looking at. Commodities and futures. I'm just saying there comes a point when guardrails need to be set up and we kind of need to understand what the heck the SEC is doing for its money. I'm just saying there comes a point. I mean, Hester Pierce is out there saying, listen, don't look to the SEC because you bought into a meme coin and you got taken. Somebody asked me, Red Star asked me yesterday how I feel about meme coins. That's exactly how I feel. I feel that meme coins are going to crash and burn. I think a lot of people are going to crash and burn with it. They're going to sit there crying. How come nobody told me? And I'm going to be one of those people that are going to sit there sipping tea. Why? Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. You want to know who's investing in memes? People that actually don't understand crypto because they just think memes are going to make them quick money. It's a game. Memes are the gamification of crypto, period. Serious people buy crypto seriously. They're looking into what the project is all about, who's involved in the project, have they been involved in other things that might have been good or bad, how did they end, did they continue? They're looking at all kinds of things. They're looking at the numbers, they're looking at tokenomics, all of it. People that buy memes are most likely being moved by the bots that are actually out there trying to pump and dump. Pay attention, people, please. Please pay attention. And when people point me to memes that are there, it's taking off because they're doing something really cool with AI. I'm in the AI space. They're doing something cool with DPINs. We do physical infrastructure networks. So I'm looking for those technical things that tell me that they're doing something. And when they're not doing anything, I will call them out. When they're doing something that I find interesting, I'll call them out. I will give credit where credit is due, and I will hammer whatever deserves to be hammered. It's my opinion. We all have one. The coolest thing is that the people that are giving me this information, I'm not judging them. They're saying, go take a look at this. I've been doing well, but you go take a look at it. You do your own research. That's what they say. Because this community, we don't judge each other. We might poke fun at each other, but we don't judge each other. That's what makes this community strong. We're all here to learn in a safe space. And that's what we're building here. A safe space for investors. And it's not just crypto. I know I 9 times out of 10 talk about crypto, but I'm talking about crypto. I'm talking about laws that affect crypto. I'm talking about stocks. I'm talking about a whole bunch of different things. Pay attention. It's got to pay attention. Don't sleep on this stuff. This is not the kind of stuff that you start snoring on. Like, don't snore on the fact that Ross Ulbricht, the guy who actually put hits out on people, right? Literally put hits out on people. You know, the former guy who created Silk Road, got a pardon, did an auction, got 1.3 million, then got access to 300 Bitcoins, allegedly, worth about $34 million, 34 point something million dollars. Yeah. They're saying that the crypto he now has access to, because they came from wallets that nobody knew about, is the crypto that he never gave back, that he never handed in. And because he got a pardon, he doesn't have to give it back now. So he's loaded. He gets out of jail. And he's loaded. Yeah. And there's no other reason that you would say that he got out of jail. He shouldn't have gotten out of jail. He shouldn't have gotten a pardon. But the only reason why he got a pardon, why, is because somebody was making a statement to the crypto world. I'm not asking for criminals to be let loose. I'm just saying that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for stupid court cases to go away. That's all we're saying. 8 pauses, not snoring. Unfortunately, they're waiting on the Genius Act to be passed before the ETFs. That could be one of them. But the Genius Act is flawed. The Genius Act is flawed. Read it. And I say this, nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect, right? Waiting for the Genius Act. Listen, let it come, let it go, do your job. So with that way of thinking is they're not going to do their job until that gets done. They're going to sit on their butts until that gets done. That's the dumbest thing ever. Not you. I'm saying to not do your job. To not do your job. But you could be absolutely right. Yo, Marcus Moore, what's going on? What's good? My man, that's what I'm talking about. What else do we have? We've got Singapore and the EU signing a $20 trillion digital trade deal. A $20 trillion digital trade deal. No, I let it go because I hate Tron. But I'm looking at this new deal, and I'm sitting here, Singapore and the EU, a digital trade deal. Where is the United States? Who do we have digital trade deals with? That's right, we're too busy calling fake tariff wars to divert attention, no less. That's the only reason why, to divert attention. To divert attention to something about trade while I'm giving other people that owe, literally right now, I think the pardons, I was doing some research, and I think the pardons actually add up to $1 billion that's not going to be collected by the United States. People that owed approximately, in total, owed approximately $1 billion to the United States, to me and you if you're in the United States, that we're not going to get. Our schools are not going to get it. Firefighters, police officers, streets, education, none of it. We're not going to get that $1 billion. Nice, right? Nice, right? Yeah. I have a problem with this. I don't get it, and it's a problem. Japanese Metaplanet becomes the 10th largest Bitcoin holder with 8,888 BTC. That's an angel number, 8888. That's mad cool. Aiming to reach 10,000 by the end of this year. It's June. I think they're going to make that goal. I think they're going to blow through that goal. So if you can actually get your hands on Metaplanet stock, there you go. But I still wonder, what business are you actually in? Are you an investment firm now? Or are you a company that's actually making money? How do you make your money? Whenever I see a company like this, how do you make your money? I just want to know, how do you make your money? You don't hear about how Metaplanet makes their money. You hear about their investment in Bitcoin. Michael Saylor runs a investment / software business, a software business, translated or transitioning to an investment firm, but they still write software. They still run that business. They're refocusing their efforts to specific kinds of software that they want to build. Just saying. When you start investing in stocks in these companies, you want to understand what you're going to get. And isn't strategy up like over 20 something 100% since like 2020? Again, go do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. There's a lot of stuff out there, right? I want to read you what I wrote. Binance's CZ proposed a dark pool decentralized exchange using zero knowledge proofs to shield traders from front running and liquidation attacks, targeting institutional DeFi needs. You knew it was coming. The ability to trade without people looking over your shoulder, trying to do copy trading, or trying to set you up to fail. If you've ever heard of the boiler room, go do research on the boiler room. You'll understand where that comes from. I haven't made a decision on whether I'm for it or against it yet. I have not. But it's not hard to track certain things. Just saying, we might want to pay attention. And if that was to happen, you might want to take advantage. Now, is CZ hinting that he's going to build it? I mean, he was part of the team that created Binance. He can no longer have his hand in Binance, but I'm just saying. And let me tell you, he would get business immediately. I know of at least one company that would leverage his services, and he's consulting them right now. Yeah. Him and every country that he's consulting right now. Think Pakistan and others. Think World Liberty Financial and others. they would all get in on that. I think he would stand to make like a ridiculous amount of money on that. And he's got enough partners that if he needed money to build it, he'd get it. But I don't think he needs money to build it. North Korea's Lazarus Group stole $1.34 billion in 2024 via phishing and code attacks. And guess what? They missed on BitMEX. BitMEX fought back and they were able to hold them off, right? But that, to me, in my head, that also makes them a target because it's like, oh, we didn't get you. Now they're going to be thinking about it. Other channels and stocks or metals mention that crypto. Hold it. I must have missed something. What's crazy, Eddie, is that used to be a store, by the way, is other channels in stocks or metals mention that crypto. It's crazy. Yeah. I'm zero likes, zero efforts, zero anything for that. Yeah, I'm not playing with that guy. I mean, think about this. There was a court case against him. He invests $75 million. Court case goes away. I don't want to deal with anybody that has to do those kinds of deals. I don't want to deal with anybody that puts themselves in that kind of position. Unfortunately, all those people become rich. The rich get richer and the poor go to jail. Just saying. So yeah, invest. Court rulings against Trump's tariff signal the White House's loss of leverage, and this is being called out by Tom Lee, Fundstrat's Tom Lee. And he's like, yeah, we need to pay attention to that. Now, supposedly, I think Hutanek was mentioning yesterday that there's supposed to be talk or rhetoric this week about tariffs because China is basically saying, go kick rocks. So that's going to be a problem. I'm not talking about that chain anymore, so drop the topic. It's just not going to happen. I get your point. I'm not going to, no. If you notice, I try to use that name as little as possible too. I call it the regime, right? Yeah. What else do we have? We've got key U.S. job reports this week may influence Bitcoin price. We've got the potential Fed policy shifts linked to labor data, unemployment claims, and non-farm payrolls. Those are the big things that we're looking for this week. Those are the big ones. But you know what we should do? That's right. We should get into the numbers. Let me get my notes out of the way. Boop. Make sure everything's set up the way I want it. Just saying. All right. Let's move over here. All right. So we've got the Dow futures being down 220 points. Why? China, which is what I just spoke about. So yeah. If I'm going to start looking at Bitcoin today, I'm not in a good mood. I'm not going to be in a good mood. I'm expecting it to take a little bit of a dip. Still be in the hundreds, but I think it's going to take a little bit of a dip. Right? So we should absolutely be paying attention to that. Again, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Pay attention, folks. Things are happening. We're not going to pay attention to whoever's filing this week, whoever's talking about their Q1 results. Why? Because everybody I cared about is over. You can do your own research on that one. So like I said, we already said that, yeah, we're going to have manufacturing this week, construction spending. We're going to have auto sales. And it's still to be announced when that's going to happen, but that should be some point today. We've got factory orders, job openings, ADP unemployment, ISM services, S&P final U.S. services PMI. We've got U.S. trade deficit. Ahem, on Thursday. A lot of people are going to be pointing to that. They'll be pointing to initial jobless claims and the U.S. trade deficit. Yeah. Now, do I expect somebody to open up their yappers previous to that trade deficit number? Yeah, of course. You're not hearing. So here's the thing. We're not hearing about solutions. We're going to start hearing about how they're the victim. We're going to start hearing about how they're the victim. Look up the Davo effect. Yeah, a narcissist. Just look that up. we're going to start hearing about how they're the victim. Oh, I was trying to do so much good and, it didn't happen and blah, 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 wham. How could you come at me like that? Yada, yada, yada. Yeah. Same thing happens every single time. Yeah, it's called flipping the script. That's what we call it. U.S. unemployment report on Friday. We got productivity also on Thursday, but on Friday we have the unemployment report, and that's going to be a big deal. Hourly wages, all that good stuff. Consumer credit going up, going down. Going to be paying attention. Some of this information is backward looking, but it's also going to be forward looking. If people are unemployed, what are they going to do? They're not going to spend. They're going to hold back on a lot of different things, and they're going to see how things move forward. I'm just saying there are things that we should be paying attention to, and that's what I'm trying to call out. What else do we have? Crypto fear and greed index is at 64. Remember, we were riding high last week, but yesterday was only at 56. We were in greed, but it was only 56. Now we're back up to 64. I think it's going to go down again as you progress through the week. Why? Because I'm expecting nothing but bad news. And if Hutanik and I are correct, the SEC is going to continue to sit on their butts and not do anything, except hold up companies from making money and making investments and further innovation, pausing innovation and all that other good stuff. Yeah. At some point, people are going to start asking the question, hey, what's up with this bill? Oh, yeah, that's right. The House passed it by one vote. And the Senate's already saying, yeah, that's not going to happen here. You take that nonsense. Get out of here. We're going to rewrite our own. Yeah, that's what's going on right now. Too many things hidden that don't have any direct effect on the budget, which would have taken it from 51 to 60 votes anyway. And then you have just a whole bunch of stuff that now one party is catching flack for. Like, not a little bit of flack, but huge flack. You want to take away from these programs while giving tax write-offs to the rich and not collecting and giving pardons away, but like selling pardons. I'm just saying, pay attention to what's going on out there. All right. I'll just spread this out a little bit so we can get a better view. And there you go. Yeah, I kind of like how this looks. I am not upset at all. I'm actually happy about it. Again, I keep pointing to pay attention to the volume. Pay attention to the volume. Don't just look at the chart and see things going up and down. Pay attention to the volume. This is historic levels, and this is where we are now. Again, pay attention to the volume. For you people that are out there trying to chart, look, all your charts, pay attention to the volume. That's all I'm saying. Add that to your mix. And you can see right here where Bitcoin, look at where we are. Look how close we were to 102. We're bouncing between the all-time high from before, our previous all-time high, and 102.771. That's where we're bouncing. I think we're going to continue to see bouncing in that space, right? A little bit of good news and we'll pop up a bit. I'm going to sell. Then we'll drop. I'm going to buy. See where I'm talking about? And this is where you see it. This is where you see it. So right now, do I think things are going to go up? I think they're going to go down before they go really back up to here, right? Before we go back up to here to the new all-time high, I think we're going to go down first. I don't know what XMR is. I don't hold it, so I don't know what it is. What's XMR? Is that Monero? That's not Monero, is it? So looking at the big board, I'm sitting back and I'm just saying to myself, XRP is nowhere near $3. Yeah, it is Monero. I don't hold any Monero, but Monero is going to take off. You would think, yeah. And there it is, XMR. Boom. And then it's funny, my mouse just happened to be there as I was starting to talk about XRP. But yeah, would I buy Monero right now? Probably not. But I have to tell you, Monero's been a strong buy for a while. It takes a dive. It takes it on the chin. Everybody hates privacy until they don't hate privacy. And then that's what happens. Just saying. Pay attention, folks. Pay attention. All right. I was looking at Bitcoin alone before. Let's go back over here and look at the bigger board. Look at the numbers going across. Yeah. There's some good stuff. I hope you're not sleeping on Ethereum. I think Ethereum is in a place where you're going to make money. Do I think Ethereum is going to hit like 4,000 again? Yeah, I do. I really do. Right? Look at XRP, not doing so great right now. Do I think it's a time to get in? Yes, I do. Because look at that hit over the past 7 days, it's down 8%. I think in the next 30 days, if you're in on it, you're going to see yourself go up a bit. Just saying. Everybody's, so many people are interested in doing the 10x, the 20x, the blah, 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 blah. That's fine. That's cool. That's your game. That's fine. I have no problem with it. I'm looking at the opportunities where I can make anywhere between 5 and 20% in a chunk. Pull out, take some profit, put it in my dry powder fund, wait for it to go down, wash, rinse, repeat. That's what I try to do. And my strategy's been working. For me, for my risk framework, it works. Other people are less risk tolerant, so they just buy and hold for a really long time. Other people are even more risky. I'm kind of in between. With my trading wallets, I'm doing some crazy stuff. But for my holding wallets, I'm really not doing anything big. I'm waiting for big things to happen, and then I'm making a call. That's what I do. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. I really hope that you like what I'm doing here. If you do me a favor, smash the likes. Tell your friends about this community. We need to grow the community and grow the knowledge that we're all sharing. That's what we need. Everybody, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your patience. And absolutely, as always, thank you for your trust. Everybody have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tonight on the Crypto Overflow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.